Hi, today I want to introduce Xmind tutorial. Xmind is one of the mind mapping tool and it's a more advanced one and complicated. Xmind provides many functions and therefore if you are not a advanced learners for mind mapping tools, it might be a little bit complicated for you, and therefore there's a necessity for me to explain mind mapping tools and also the key features and elements of Xmind, and then followed by the Xmind tutorial including the interface and operation. And therefore it's impossible for me to finish this tutorial in 15 or 20 minutes. So I divided this film into two parts. For the first part, I will explain mind mapping tools shortly and then compare two very popular tools. One of that is Xmind and the other is Xmind. And then more time will be given to explain the Xmind elements, some key features. And that's the first part. And in the second part, there will be more details and step-by-step practice demonstration on how to operate Xmind, and also I'll introduce the interface. So this Xmind tutorial film is divided into two sections, two parts, two films. And for the languages, the tutorial language, the spoken one, the teaching language that I'm going to use is English. However, for in part one, most of the written information is in English. And in the second part, because it involves more operations, and also when I explain key elements, I will tend to provide both English and Chinese written information that you can see on the screen. So for Taiwanese or Chinese learners, it will be better for you to understand because it involves some explanations of key features and also the operations and how to draw the diagram. So basically this is the structure of this series of film. Right now, let me introduce you Xmind first. It's a type of mind mapping tool, and its creator is Tony Buzan from United Kingdom. It's a creative way of thinking. That's what it's famous for, and it is often adopted in the field of education. And for this software, when you use it, you can use both your right brain and your left brain. That means you will use both keywords and images, not only just texts. And the famous feature is that it will present your ideas like spider web type of structure. So this is a list, and it's a online survey, online poll, and in this poll, in this survey, actually it asks people or the internet users to rank and vote for these mind tools, and it's obvious that we can see that Xmind ranked top 1 because it received the most votes. Okay, and the second one is Xmind. And both software can be used in operation system like Windows, Mac, and Linux. For Xmind, it is free to a certain extent. I mean that there's a lot of free functions that you can use, and you can use it offline. However, there are certain functions, for example, like if you want to transfer your Xmind into PowerPoint, then you have to pay. And sometimes if you prefer to use it online, you also have to pay for certain functions. So that's why I say it is free to a certain extent. And its advantages including the following. The second one is easy to install. The third one is easy to understand. Each function, however, is quite complicated because it provides lots of functions. So even though it is easy to understand, but it's also easy for you to forget if you don't use certain functions. And it provides offline use and also online use. For some, actually for a lot of the online use, you just have to pay. And in this tutorial, I just focus on the offline use, I mean the free parts. But for the free parts, I think it's enough for me to use it to organize ideas or use it for a group project. And it is one of the most popular tools. As I indicated before, it actually ranked top 1. And it's voted by the internet users, so it is actually very popular. And you can download Xmind for free. So what do mind mapping tools do? Some use them for study, for planning projects, and for organizing information. And some might spark ideas and facilitate brainstorming sessions. And some use them while planning the writing of a report. So who will use mind mapping tools? Actually, everybody can use it if they know how to draw on a canvas. Of course, a little baby won't be able to use it, but I think for even for children, they can use it if they're better instructed. So mind mapping tools actually can be used by individuals and also can be used by groups. So some use them alone, individually, and others use them as groups while doing a group project. Mind mapping tools, what are the limitations? Actually, it's convenient and useful. All of them are convenient and useful, and many tools do confine users to a strict tree hierarchy, and I think that's the limitations for some tools. But Xmind itself provides different variety of diagrams and more functions, and you can use it either offline or online, so it's more flexible. However, on the other hand, that means it's more complicated. I want to compare two very popular mind mapping tools here. I want to compare the one that I'm going to introduce today, that's Xmind, and also one very popular one. It's more simple, but more limitations there. It's called Xmind. Both of them are convenient and useful, but for beginners of making mind maps, I think I will recommend Xmind first, because it's very simple and straightforward, and learners do not have to memorize a lot of functions, and it's quick for them to pick the interface and know the functions. They can try them themselves. And for more advanced ones, the more advanced ones means that for someone who have experiences in making mind maps through mind mapping tools, I would recommend them to use Xmind, because it's more complex, yes, but it's more flexible, and it provides more functions, and it has more templates to choose from, and more styles and more varieties. So basically, that's my recommendation for using Xmind and Xmind. From this point, I'm going to introduce Xmind to you. So it's about Xmind tutorial. And here in the written information that you view on the film, actually the written information is written in both English and Chinese because for Xmind function is more complicated and there are lots of functions. So I think if I provide both English and Chinese, it will help the viewers to easily catch the idea. For Chinese learners to easily catch the idea of how to operate Xmind. And I want to tell all of you about the important elements of Xmind first. First, it has a central theme, and basically we compose our ideas or diagram just like drawing something on canvas. And the important elements of Xmind is the line. The line actually connecting themes and branch ideas or subtopics, and one can use words or lines of different colors to signal major ideas and sub-ideas. And here in Xmind, I recommend the users to only use important keywords on a branch idea. So here it's better that if you choose certain font, the font should be like simple and straightforward, easy to identify, and you can also insert image to illustrate your ideas. So basically, don't write sentences, enter keywords. And the other elements, important elements, is images. So users should use images to express important ideas. And please use simple and clear images because in one diagram probably you will have lots of ideas, and so if you insert a lot of complicated images, actually when you present the whole diagram it will not be very clear, so it will not help the viewers to understand better. So if you want to use the images more effectively, you should actually insert more clear and simple images. And I encourage all of you to use 5 senses to catch attention. Of course, that means you can insert a piece of audio files like music. And eyes, you insert images, etc. And use 2 or more than 2 colors to enrich your diagram and show differences, show different association, different connections. Actually, in Xmind, there are few defaults, or there are few styles that you can choose from. And for few styles, actually, it directly provides frames or in different colors. So I think it's very convenient. For the layout of Xmind, you need to make it horizontal, not vertical, for viewers' convenience and for your operation. And don't make it too crowded. And there should be some hierarchical concepts to make it clear. And of course, you should have your personal styles and idea counts. So if you get used to using Xmind to make diagrams, I think you will be able to maintain your styles. For example, like you use certain structure and you always insert some image or piece of music to show your personal styles. The creation of Xmind originally is to encourage creative ways of thinking, and therefore associations are very important in adopting Xmind. So in what follows, there are some tips for the users to encourage your association. So the first one is please use icons to strengthen association. You can see from the inserted pictures here, so you can use some images or some structures to strengthen association, and there are different icons to choose from. And the second one is use arrows and lines to show different associations. The third one is use different colors for different association. I mentioned these points in the past, and I want to stress this one again here. So see, from this style, it's a style that you can choose from Xmind. I will explain it later. And for this one, it uses different lines, actually made of different colors. So even for the sub-branches, it's in different colors. So from different colors, you can see different associations. And there are some common errors committed by the beginners. I want to talk about it. The first one is there, actually for some beginners, you cannot really see clear functions, and there's no hierarchies in a diagram and no important points, and probably there are no associations, so everything is just like in segments, and they're not organized together. And the other arrows is to use very long sentences or long sentences and not keywords. Actually, try not to use sentences in ideas or themes or subtopics. By the way, in the beginning I have said that Xmind is for a lot of us to organize ideas, so should we be very well organized in our diagram? Actually, it's not necessary, especially when you're composing something in the very beginning stage. It's like writing, so you can have drafts, and later on you just revise it by and by. You'll become more well organized, because for Xmind it is to encourage you to think creatively. So if you just focus on organizations only and not on the creative parts, I think you will lose the important points of using Xmind. And here is URL for download Xmind, and it's easy to install that. So after downloading the software, the package, you need to unzip the software and execute xmind.exe under Xmind window folder. Okay, since mine is PC, so I use the Windows OS. I'll choose this one, and that's it. You just unzip and execute it, and it will be installed in your computer. At the end of part 1, here comes Xmind tutorial, the Q&A session. Question number 1. Comparing to Xmind, is Xmind a better tool for beginning users of mind mapping tools? The answer is no. Xmind is more flexible and it provides many functions, but that also means it is more complicated than Xmind. So for beginning users, probably it's a better idea to use Xmind first. But if you like to challenge your learners, probably you can also use Xmind. Question number 2. Do we have to get online to use Xmind? The answer is it is not necessary to be online. Xmind can be used offline. But if you want to use more advanced functions such as transform Xmind diagrams into PowerPoint files, then you need to pay online and use it. Otherwise, it's free and you can use it offline. Question number 3. Please name 2 key features, elements of Xmind. The answer to question 3 is, if you answer any 2 of the following, your answer is correct. Number 1, central theme. Number 2, lines. Number 3, use keywords. Number 4, use images to strengthen associations. This is the end of part 1.